starting in
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, this is Veronica.
And I'm Studio Steve.
We are the Pod Sound School.
And this is PodBitz. PodBitz is a quick and easy way to digest the latest news and events in podcasting.
Learn about actionable tips to podcast like a beast.
Listen to our podcast recommendations.
And be in the know with what is up in the PSS community.
And we do it all live.
While the clock is ticking.
Unedited.
And raw.
So get those ears ready.
Crank those speakers up.
And let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of PodBitz, which is a bonus episode of the Pod Sound School podcast. I'm Studio Steve and I am here alone. Veronica is on some calls. I would have liked to take the calls and I told Veronica, hey, you are the favorite of the two of us and people will miss you. They don't like it when my frosty mug is on here alone. But, then I'd have to teach her how to press all these buttons and everything else, which I should teach her how to do because I know you would prefer here. But if this is your first time tuning into PodBitz, we do this live right around noon every Wednesday on Twitter or Periscope, so you can come check us out there. And we stick around for a Q&A afterwards. Also, we do this... For those of you watching us, we'll be answering the questions afterwards, and it's a 13-minute segment of pre-recorded music that we do. So let's get to it. We'll start with some administrative stuff. We're excited because we are getting on a plane tomorrow for Orlando to go to PodFest, and we're so excited to get to meet face-to-face with so many of our digital friends there in Orlando. We'll get to meet Eric Hunley, and we're going to get to meet Andy Wong and Larry Roberts, among many other people. I think also we have Jacqueline Schiff that's going to be there, and so many of you there. So excited for that, to be able to meet these people face to face. We're excited and nervous. Also, there's just so many good speakers there. And if you're going to be in PodFest in Orlando, make sure to come say hi to us. There's a really cool app that they're using for this event that's really nifty, and it allows you to create a profile and connect with others and find out who else is attending the event and even arrange and schedule some meetups, which is pretty cool. So make sure that you find us on the app and come find us and say hi. We'd love to meet as many of you as possible there. And we're really excited for that. Our premium episode this week is going to be available only to our overachievers at our members. And it's going to be finishing up a 3-part series about email marketing. And we're covering welcome emails, sequences, and automations. Email marketing is just such an important part of marketing our podcasts, and it's so commonly overlooked. So definitely come stop by our Overachievers Club at Patreon. You can find that by going to podsoundschool.com/premium. That way you can unlock premium content. We're focusing on monetizing and a bunch of other really cool things over there. We're also way excited because we are developing and about to release some amazing new content that we're rolling out soon to help people who are brand new to podcasting newbies. And we're actually conducting surveys right now and arranging calls. Like I said, Veronica's on some of those calls right now, and we could really use your help. So if you haven't started a podcast yet, or if you're thinking about starting one, it would help us so much and other fellow podcasting newbies if you would take a few minutes and fill out this survey for us. It's a short survey. We want to crack the code on how we can get the most, how we can help our podcasters the most and offer educational content to them that they most need and that they find the most helpful. So please, you can find that survey by going to podsoundschool.com/survey.
This Week in Podcasting.
Okay, this week in podcasting. It's a crazy week in podcasting. Very busy week. This morning, there was the RAIN Podcast Business Summit, and that happened in New York this morning, hosted by James Cridland. It was a summit all about the business behind podcasting. And then we've got the Hot Pod Summit tomorrow in Brooklyn, New York. And then, starting tomorrow until Sunday, we have PodFest in Orlando, Florida. And there's the On Air Fest also happening in Brooklyn, New York this week, which is really exciting. A lot of cool stuff happening there as well. And if you by chance checked out our YouTube video about our top picks for podcast web hosts, then you'll remember that Simplecast was our top pick. And this is why I'm so excited about this week's news, that Simplecast has announced its movable audio engine, or MAE, M-A-E, and it's pronounced just like May. It allows publishers like us to dynamically deliver advertisements and host-read content, a personalized show opening for a geographical region, or back catalog promotions for first-time listeners. And they don't call it DAI, or digital ad insertion, because they are wanting to make it a lot more than that. So the big thing is geo-targeting, which is really exciting as well too. And if these are new terms to you, they're exciting terms, especially for indie podcasters or podcasters that might want to get together into collectives. And, imagine from this article on Medium that I'll leave a link to before, it says, imagine delivering a unique monologue to your NYC-based listeners while the rest of the world hears another one. For podcasters who tour and offer live tapings, geo-targeted promos will change your game. So you can run multiple host reads for the same advertiser, ensuring that your audience won't hear the same version twice. So just so dynamic with the way you can include and pull advertisements in and out of your podcast episodes. And, if you had a big group together and you could get together with many podcasters, and let's say you're only getting a couple thousand downloads each per episode, well, together you can all get 20 or 30,000 downloads and join it up and be a collective and actually reach big advertisers and wind up making really good money with your shows. And Simplecast is a really cool hosting platform that's going to allow that when they roll out May soon, which is great. Also, in the world of advertisements, Chartable has added a new tool that they call Incremental Lift to their suite of products. Their suite of products they call Smart Ads, and it's another addition to the popular pixel-based advertising. So we've all been hearing promo codes in our podcast for years, but because there's so much guesswork involved, the advertisers don't really know if people are clicking on those promo codes or if those are coming from the podcast or not, or if they're coming from other places that they have those same promo codes. So that's why this online attribution method of pixel-based attribution has become so popular, because Chartable can get greater insight into the effectiveness of advertisers' podcast ads. And Incremental Lift, which they just rolled out, allows advertisers to know which ads work and which don't, and how to optimize their ad buys more precisely. So that's pretty exciting news. We've also got This Week in Podcasting. We have, so in addition to the PodFest, there's also a lot of really, that was actually going to be without Veronica here, I have completely spaced what my last This Week in Podcast is, but let's do This Week in Your Queue. So this week in your queue, I'm going to be doing one. I'm going to be giving you two suggestions because Veronica isn't here. I first off had a recommendation from Paul Kondo from Podcast Gumbo, and Podcast Gumbo is a great weekly podcast recommendation newsletter that you should probably sign up for, but only if you love podcasts. And I'm really happy I found this show. I've always thought that there should be a show like this, and there is. It's called Kind Words. And Kind Words is a radio series, or is it Kind World, sorry, is a radio series and podcast about how a single act of kindness can change our lives. And in each episode, the hosts Andrea and Yasmin bring you deeply intimate stories and interviews that uplift your spirit and restore your faith in humanity. And there's some really cool episodes on Kind World that have been really fun, and I wanted to pop open some of these episodes for you, but I'll get to Veronica's suggestion in your queue this week is a recommendation from another podcast recommendation newsletter that you should probably sign up for. It's called Find That Pod. And this is a great show for entrepreneurs or people just starting a business or a podcast. It's called Founders. And from the founder's description is, how do a lot of entrepreneurs learn in this day and age? It's mostly from other business builders and founders that came before them. And the world is awash with bad business advice, but rest assured that if you're getting started, this podcast will give you tons of really actionable, awesome advice. So it's called Founders. So definitely check that out.
Tip of the week.
Wait till I tell you
Okay, the tip of the week, if I can manage and pull through this 13 minutes, it's a race and it's crazy on the mind. The tip of the week is to start really thinking about SEO. You know, we're all struggling with this same problem of discoverability and getting more listeners for our podcasts. And SEO, or search engine optimization, can really help us with this. You know, Google's making advancements like crazy with podcasts the way that it is now, crawling through podcast episodes that will eventually generate responses to people's queries. So to start with, you want to make sure that your show notes are detailed and include descriptive and detailed copy or writing. And the most searchable part of your show is the title, and then the summary, and then the episode notes. And many of us podcasters are a bit confused about these two sections when we're uploading our podcast to our hosts. I know I was. And the summary is a field that is meant to insert just a couple sentences, right, that summarize your episode. And many podcasters will just put their entire show notes in that field. And the episode notes should not only include links or guest contact info that you featured on your episode, but very detailed and descriptive copy. And then if you want to take it up a notch from there, it might be time to start thinking about repurposing your podcast episodes into blog posts. And then you embed your podcast episode into that blog post. And this makes for even more efficient SEO. And if you're too busy to do this yourself, you might want to check out PodReacher, created by Jacqueline Schiff, who I mentioned is going to be at PodFest, and we're excited to get to meet her. Her company, they will actually repurpose your episodes into blog posts for you, which is amazing. So the other thing then you want to start paying attention to is keywords and finding keywords that you can rank for. And I'll leave an article that will help you with keywords and keyword suggestibility. So check this episode. There's a lot of tools that can help you to find keywords. And that sums it up for this 13 minutes of PodBitz. Hopefully I didn't destroy it too much. Without my trusty sidekick, it's kind of difficult for me. But if you haven't rated our podcast yet, please do so. Go to ratethispodcast.com/podsoundschool. That would help us a lot. And all of the links and resources I talked about are always in this episode's description like usual. And please come follow us on Twitter or Instagram. I mean, you're probably already here on Twitter watching, but you can find us anywhere at Pod Sound School. And if you're not a member of our Facebook group yet, what's going on? podsoundschool.com/community. And that sums it up for this week. We're really excited. There's not a regular episode, podcast episode this week. There's a premium episode. So stop by our Overachievers Club to find that.
Sometimes all a school needs is a little facelifting. Laboratories functionally designed for the student's use. The new miracle of modern tools for instruction.